Alright, here, this is, I think, my part two to my big original Marvel showcase, as I like to call it. Some of these figures I actually wanted to show in the first video, but just didn't. So this I could separate this in actually three different videos, but I'm just doing it as one kind of bigger video. There's three different categories of characters I would like to say. There's, I have sort of dark Avengers, as I like to call them, kind of darker characters that I would imagine kind of teaming up for something. So there's Dark Avengers. There's post-apocalyptic stuff. So like I imagine this stuff could take place like after after like a nuclear war, or in it's several years into the future, post-apocalyptic. Yeah, that's that. So that's another category. And then Spider-Man is a category. Yes, I decided to copy Potato Mean, and I made original Spider-Man characters. By characters, I mean a singular character made into three figures, but that is neither here nor there. And actually, no, I do have another character, and I'll probably show him off. Okay, first off, the Dark Avengers stuff, which is the stuff I've had done for the longest time. First off is an original Ghostwriter. I really like how this turned out. I like how the painting on the I meant to have this done a while ago, but you see here I gave him the Ninjago chain with the flame on the other end with the dragon on it, and I think that looks cool. You could pose, you can kind of make it look like he's trying to hit someone. But yeah, there's this chain. Also getting a little bit of flame on the other hand. I'll take that off to show the figure off better. I really like how this looks. Kind of gave him the short sleeve look. I still get I painted the little royal guard kind of shoulder, piece, but I painted it in black to kind of just make it look like bulkier shoulders, or kind of biker jacket shoulders. You can see underneath it looks like he has a shirt that kind of looks like the logo that his other Ghostwriter has. I don't remember the other Ghostwriter's names. And also, like I said, I also had that old Ghostwriter, kind of similar face design, but I painted the whole thing over. So instead of it being white or silver, it's just kind of dark. I think it's more of like a dark bone color, Kind of gives me the vibe of like, a skeleton that's been like sitting out for a while, that we'd see in movies a lot. So that's why I kind of gave it this color instead of this kind of darker color I used. And I think it looks really nice. And you can see here how kind of some of the flame, how the face kind of transitions into the actual flames on the head. And like I said, it's no longer transparent. It's just painted with several layers of red and orange and a little bit of yellow on top. And I really like how this Ghostwriter turned out for the, I would like to say, Dark Avengers team. Next up, this one's actually pretty basic, and I kind of want to improve this one in the future, but I made a custom blade. I don't actually know much about the character. I just know he looks badass, so I made him. I try to make it look like he's shirtless underneath the jacket. I try to paint on a muscle design, but you can't really. Honestly, I thought you could see like the dark brown lines on top of the reddish brown, but you can't really. So maybe I'll make some muscle detailing underneath there with like black, just pure black lines. Honestly, don't know how Lego does that on the darker flesh tone, because it's really easy on the lighter flesh tone to do it with some of this because it's so much darker. But honestly, it's kind of hard to paint on detail without just using a straight black line, which I might do, which maybe that's what Lego does. I don't know. I'll have to examine some more figures. But here we go nonetheless. So he has his jacket, he's shirtless underneath, and he has this kind of, the Ninjago kind of samurai, which just kind of goes in his shoulder. And yeah, so he has his blade. Fairly basic figure with the kind of original Marvel characters. Also, I try to give him a little bit of a fade. He has that kind of, the really short, the new short hairpiece. And yeah, so there we go. There is my custom blade right there. Really cool. Excited to see how he turns out in the MCU as well. Should I? Yeah, I'll show off here. I made the Black Knight. I actually just learned about this through the Eternals. I watched a video about it, and I'm like, this character seems cool. So I thought he would do perfectly for this kind of darker team. You can see here I gave him his blade, right, which is the blade from, what's it called? The Harry Potter CMF, but I painted the blade black, kind of make it look like his, black blade he has. Gave him a red cape, and then his torso is, funnily enough, it's actually a Thor torso turned around and painted. But I still think it looks good. He has this kind of black, withered up helmet he has. Just the classic kind of knighting helmet. Nothing too fancy there. So this figure really isn't fancy. But can you please, focus on him? Alright, yeah. But there you can see him. And underneath, I kind of made it look like he had some face paint on. Or maybe just some dirt, And you could have that so it kind of, has that kind of darker lens there. There's the other team. Maybe they're all just, part of the Dark Avengers team because they visually look dark. Well, this next one doesn't. So, that will deconfirm that theory. Moon Knight. I really wanted to make my own Moon Knight, and I'm really happy how this guy turned out. I'm going to take away this moon accessory because, I like it, but it's not the best because I can't really paint it in white. Alright, here you go. So the way I made this guy, it's just using, I had a Moon Knight before, but I decided to do it again, but I wanted to use some of the pieces, some of the parts, a lot of the parts from White Vision. I thought those parts from White Vision don't really work for White Vision, but would work great for a really detailed Moon Knight. And I think it does with all the printing and whatnot. Painted on the moon symbol he has, and the hoodie. But you can see here how it's dual molded legs. I think it works really well for Moon Knight. Still gave him the tattered cape, but I also, like I said, this is a painted, custom painted hoodie. Also, I made it look like he has a mask kind of underneath the hoodie, kind of like the I think the new live action version kind of has that look, where it has has the hoodie, and then it has a little mask on his mouth. And I really like how this turned out. So I think it looks cool. I think this would be a cool team. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, probably should have maybe added the Punisher to this team. Would have been a cool lineup. But yeah, now on to the post-apocalyptic stuff. I'm imagining this storyline, maybe it's after the Hulk gets sent to space, he comes back, becomes all mad, World War Hulk, and then maybe after that he becomes the Maestro, but, it's like a nuclear war because of it, and then, far in the future, this is post-apocalyptic. So this is stuff like Logan, Logan this is what I kind of was inspired by, obviously, the Logan storyline, post-apocalyptic stuff, but I applied it to other Marvel characters. But speaking of Logan, I actually did make a custom Logan Wolverine. So like I said, this is several years in the future, several thousand years I'm imagining. So really the only characters I've made were characters that I thought would kind of be immortal in a way. You'll see in a second who else I've done. You can see here, this is Logan, right? And I didn't give him the super gray hair. And I actually haven't made a Wolverine just in the kind of the young Wolverine, but this is older Wolverine. Still looks fairly young because he's not. Maybe I should have given him completely gray hair, but decided not to because he has the regenerating factor to him. What I did decide to give him is I thought this was really cool. A Deadpool's head. I imagine in the timeline or in this universe or whatever, maybe I imagine Logan kind of being in God of War, the head the guy carries around. But I imagine that, but it's Deadpool, so he's just constantly talking. So I imagine he either the regenerating power stops working at this point or something, where only he can't grow back the rest of his body or something. So he's just kind of carrying around his head, maybe trying to fix him, maybe just keeping him around. But he has a stick where he just has Logan's head stabbed through, and I think this would probably be funny pairing, just having Logan having to deal with Deadpool just constantly talking as he's just trying to survive in the wasteland. Alright, another character I made is I really like this one. I mentioned, like I said, the big bad would probably be Maestro, which I've made a Maestro custom before. Here, I don't know if this version would be the exact version in like the original Marvel series, but whatever. Here we have a Thor. I actually really like how this old Thor looks. He has one arm that's completely electricity. I imagine he got that removed or something. Still has Mjolnir, but I like how this arm looks. It's the Gamora arm, but I painted on like a flesh tone. So, yeah, you can see here he has this kind of Viking helmet, and he's just really old with the long kind of gray hair. And I like how that looks, you know. I imagine, you know, maybe I'm thinking maybe a lot of these characters like rule different kingdoms or something, like after the fact. Like there's certain areas of the world, you know, the post-apocalyptic world where certain, you know, people like maybe this is a district that, you know, Thor owns and, you know, that's like his kingdom, and then Maestro owns like the big kingdom, whatever. I thought that would be cool. Also, I thought it'd be really cool. I didn't make a custom for it, but I'm imagining like another character that would probably be immortal and that probably live for this long would probably be what's his name? I'm thinking Sandman. Like if Sandman went to the desert, like he would control the entire desert. Like think about that, because it's all sand. So there'd be like the Sandman kingdom. You want to mess with Sandman. All right. Two more figures for the post-apocalyptic. Well, kind of one, but kind of two. Here we have Iron Man, but this isn't really Iron Man. This, I feel, this would be like, because Tony Stark is long dead at this point in the timeline, so I imagine this is like, you know, he uploaded his consciousness to, you know, his robots, but there's really, to his suits, but there's really only one left in existence that's kind of like alive after the many years. So this is him. I gave him Captain America's shield. Imagine, you know, Captain America is obviously dead. So you just got this Iron Man husk. And he's just kind of carrying around the shield, you know, just surviving where he can. And making sure Tony Stark's consciousness, you know, stays alive. So I imagine maybe the journey, it's them going to Tony Stark to try to, I don't know, fix something. Maybe. I don't know. Last one for the post-apocalyptic, it's really doesn't really fit, but I imagine the timeline. After Tony Stark, he helps them out, but then it's revealed that he has like a secret, you know, base somewhere that had like, you know how like Vision is like a sentient, he's, you know, kind of like a hybrid between like mechanical and then like biological. I imagine this next character would be as well, which is a Tony Stark as kind of like a super Tony Stark robot thing. Yeah, like he uploads his consciousness into this, and yeah, it becomes kind of like, you know, a super android or whatever. You can see here I made a Tony Stark head in transparent blue, so you can get a closer look at that. I actually really like how this looks. I think that's good. Also on the back you see some tech and stuff, but yeah, I think this would be cool as like Iron Man's final form. You see here, this is actually taken a lot from, you see the arms are from White Vision, and then the rest of the body is from the Eternals. The one lady, the deaf lady from Eternals. And I think it looks cool. So that's my post-apocalyptic kind of crew right there from the post-apocalyptic storyline. Also, finally, we have some Spider-Man characters. I'm excited to show these guys off. First off, let's just show standard Peter Parker. So this is Peter Parker in his standard attire. I decided to give him the Daily Bugle shirt, which I thought would be pretty cool because he works for the Daily Bugle. See, in his backpack, there's what do you got? What are you hiding, Petey? Huh? What's that drooping out of your backpack? Better not be a Spider-Man suit, perhaps. I don't know, but there's Peter Parker. And I gave him the glasses and kind of more of a generic hairpiece because I kind of like how that looks. There is Peter Parker. And also, you know, Peter Parker, you know, everyone starts somewhere, so I gave him a homemade suit. which I like how this looks. This is a cool homemade suit. You see he's just wearing a Tony Stark, the Tony Stark Advent Calendar ugly jacket, but I imagine like he ripped his shoulders off and had like a blue onesie underneath, and that's what he used for his first Spider-Man outfit. You see his web shooters, pretty primitive, just kind of blocks. And he also has, just running shoes with high up socks, and yeah, and then the this little wrap here, it's actually from Ray Skywalker from the old Star Wars. So that's one of the which one was it? I don't know. One of the from the newer movies. But yeah, and I imagine like he just kind of wrapped it all together and put goggles on. Like I said, a homemade suit, not supposed to look elegant, but it is okay. But now I'm going to show you off the kind of official suit. This concept was actually inspired by someone else. I don't know who else made it, but someone else used this idea where they use the arms from Falcon, from like the Falcon Captain America. They used the arms and they modified that to make a cool looking Spider-Man, and I kind of took that and took it a bit further. So here you go, and I am really happy how this Spider-Man looks. I think it looks really cool. With the arms and the legs, you can see the legs and the arms are from Falcon. And yeah, you can see here he kind of just has a lot of silver detailing and a lot of dark blue detailing with some light blue highlights, and I think that looks really cool. I'm really proud of how these arms look. So let me show them off real quick. Really teched out. You can see he has a really big web shooter, kind of comically sized, but I still think it looks good. Nor the back, but yeah. So you kind of have that classic Spider-Man look, but with some additional modifications. So yes, that is my kind of original Spider-Man. See, painted some more red detailing on the boots, even though they are like a bit more tactical. I still wanted to make them look red, even though they got quite a bit of gray on there. And yeah, I really like how those arms turned out with the several layering of silver, red, light blue, black. There's a whole bunch going on there, and I am just really happy how this kind of original Spider-Man turned out. Last but not least, for the Spider-Man figures, this one's not really. I initially didn't want to consider this kind of part of the original Marvel characters, but I kind of also didn't want to put him in a single figure showcase, and I've already made a comic book Lizard, so I'm going to consider this guy original. Here we have the Lizard. I've teased this guy a little bit before, and now I'm finally showing him off here. Using that Velociraptor head, I really like how this guy turned out. See here, he has kind of the ripped up jacket design. He has a little bit of a ripped up dark blue shirt underneath, and dark blue pants. So fairly basic, but I like how it looks. Also, he has a tail. This tail is actually from the Toy Story character Rex, but I didn't want to actually permanently connect the tail because it's the only version of that tail I had, because I only have one Toy Story Rex. So you can actually detach the tail if you really want. You can see there, all I did is I painted a little bit of green stuff. I put a little bit of green stuff going out. So you can see it's flat there, right? So when you do connect the tail, it's flush with the body. So here, look. So yeah, so it kind of looks. You see a little bit of a gap, but you see here it is still relatively flush with the body. And the way I did that is I just kind of I drilled a hole in, and I glued one of those pegs, right? And then I glued one of those in, and then I put the green stuff, and I formed that. But I like how this looks. He uses kind of a basic kind of green color, but then you can see here there's some hints of a more kind of like a more swampy kind of green. I dry brushed a little bit on. So yeah, here's my Lizard. Put him off there. So yep, there are all of my figures for this original Marvel showcase. If you guys like this, please leave a like. Also, go check out my other original Marvel showcase. There's a lot more figures, and this video's been going on for way too long. So go check that out if you want. If you want to see more kind of original Marvel characters, tell me, and I probably will. And like, subscribe if you want to, do all that good stuff. And more importantly, go watch the 2011 film Rango. It's a very good film. All right, cool. Okay, cool. Bye. Ciao. See ya.